Our country is the most politically unstable country in ASEAN. We are the most politically unstable country. And our country is the second worst country in terms of control of corruption among the ASEAN 5 countries. Yan ang mga pinagmamalaki nito mga kandidato na ito, nang dami daw nila nagawa, ang galing daw nila, mga matalino sila, mga pasipag sila, puro sila lahat honest. Kaya kung minsan, pag tumayo sila sa Senado, hindi talaga ako makakapigil. Hinamon ko magsuntukan na lang kami. In terms of changes in perceptions over the past decade regarding corruption, Hong Kong-based PERC, this is the agency that rates the performance of governments. The PERC rated the Philippines the worst in the Asia-Pacific region in 2012 with a grade. The grade range was from 0 to 10, with 0 being the best possible grade and 10 the worst possible grade, and our grade was, guess, 9.35. Pag nag-tsunami sana, mahuli lahat itong 24 kandidato pagka-senador. Parang pag-asa naman tayo. Kasi laki na ginagastos na saan lang pinakuha pera nila yun. Lalo na sa TV. Do you know in television, you buy 30 seconds. 1, 2, 3. Count, magiging 30 seconds. For every 30 seconds, you have to pay at least 200,000 pesos. Eh, dami nilang TV ngayon pa lang eh. Saan nila pinakuha yung pera? Hindi, hiningi nila, inutang nila, o nangidnap sila, o nagpapakit sila. Basta sigurado mo, pag nanalo yon, babawiin nila yan sa ating kaban. At may interest pa. Kaya walang lisensya ng gobyerno eh. Dahil umpisada pa lang, ang dami-dami ng perang pinapalabas nila. Eh natural pa bawiin nila yan, alangan namang i-donate nila yan. In brief, the Philippines has a credibility problem. As a result, it received and continues to receive the lowest foreign direct investments or FDIs into the country. Walang may gusto mag-invest dito, contrary to all the propaganda you read or hear about. Yet, the country needs a lot of foreign direct investment in order to sustain strong, inclusive growth that we can only dream about at the moment. Despite the hype, foreign investors are not coming here. They are going elsewhere, to Vietnam, to Indonesia, to Thailand, and to other places. According to some economists, the country can sustain a growth of around 4.5%. But that is not good enough. What should be our rate of economic growth, since you are business economics students? Abel? That is correct, yes. The economy needs to grow on a sustained basis at about 7% for a decade to make a difference in the lives of ordinary Filipinos. Why? Because there are simply too many of us. Some 2 million Filipinos are born every year, a great majority in abject poverty. Kaya, tumakbo nga kayo, mga business economic students ng Adamson at iba pang mga universidad dito, para meron naman tayong economist na presidente na kaya niyang umabot sa 7% ang ating GNP growth. Huwag na tayong pumili pa ng iba pang mga profesyon. Ang hanap na lang tayo, basta sinabi ng tao, kaya ko yan, dalhin sa 7%, iboto na natin kaagad. Kaya po nga eh. Maski sinong kandidato pagka-presidente, basta mabigyan ng solusyon ang traffic problem sa Metro Manila, iboto ko yun. Some basic policies. The first basic policy is that the government has to invest more in education, health, and social welfare in order to build a more productive and intelligent workforce. Intelligent workforce. It has to invest heavily in public infrastructure. During the last 12 years, the government has invested very little in public infrastructure. Here I mean hard infrastructure such as roads, bridges, airports, seaports, urban transit systems, irrigation systems, power plants, and so forth and so on. Hard infrastructure will help to expand the capacity of the economy to produce. Historically, we have only spent less than 2% of gross domestic product, the size of the economy. Other countries in dynamic Asia have spent equivalent of 5% or higher for public infrastructure. Palagi tayong huli. 7% ang ating kapitbahay sa ASEAN, tayo 4.5 lang. Sila 5% GDP, tayo 2% lang. If we want to be like our more fast-growing Asian neighbors, we should be spending about 500 billion pesos annually. Not 500 billion for the next 5 years, but 500 billion annually for public infrastructure. That is why the first major challenge for the government is where to get the money to finance social services and public infrastructure. Noon pa, umpisa pa lang ako sa Immigration Commission, sinabi ko na, palaging ito magtatanong ng taong bahay, saan tayo kukuha ng pera? Ang sagot ko ay napakadali. Kunin natin ang pera doon sa mga magnanakaw at ikulong natin silang lahat. Ibig sabihin, walang maiiwan yan sa Kongreso. In fact, merong insane asylum sa Metro Manila. Nawalan sila ng isang inmate na katakas. Hanap na sila dito, hanap na sila doon. Hindi nila makita-kita itong taong ito kasi dangerous siya and armed. Tapos sira pang ulo niya. Ngayon, napunta sila sa Senado. Ay, nandulo yung taong yun. Tinawag ang pangalan niya, nagsabi siya, present. O, saan natin kukunin ng pera? I always said when I was Immigration Commissioner, we just stop corruption, that's it, to get the money. The COA, I think 2 days ago, said, our country lost 200 billion pesos in the last fiscal year. That's the Commission on Audit, 200 billion. Bakit ka pa maghanap? Diyan lang sa corruption, ininto mo lang yun, 200 billion kagad kikitain mo. When I first said that when I was Immigration Commissioner, everyone, the politicians said, she's exaggerating. Now the Commission on Audit has confirmed it. Ang dali-dali lang. Palitan niyo lahat ng nanakaw sa gobyerno. Ang problema, ang pinapalit natin, magnanakaw din. That is a problem really with our country that is, for me, a very simple solution. Just give me license to kill. A recent World Bank Public Expenditure Review recommends increasing public expenditures in priority sectors, meaning education, health, social welfare, and public infrastructure by around 5 to 7% of GDP. That is roughly 500 to 700 billion pesos annually. Well, again, I emphasize the question is, where are we going to get the money? You have to have the courage to fight the crooks in our country that have made us notorious for our so-called culture of corruption. Kung minsan sabi ng ibang mga critics ko, masyado naman siya kung magalit siya. Eh, di ka ba magagalit? Bilyon pa lang ninakaw nila taon-taon? Iyan ang nga problema sa ating bansa eh. Walang may tao na may dunong at may tapang na sabihin niya, ihinto rin nyo ang pagnanakaw ninyo. Dahil dyan ang pera, nakalagay dyan, nakatago, nakabaon dyan eh. Tingnan mo ang tirahan ng lahat ng mga kasapi ng Kongreso. Fourth Park, Dasmariñas, lahat ng first-class subdivisions. May asawa. Ang mga anak nag-eskwela abroad. Ang dami nilang kotse, ang dami nilang driver. Ang dami ding mga kirida nila. Saan kinukuha yun? The second basic policy is that the government should adopt measures that will fix and strengthen our shaky fiscal house. The government has to reform the tax system. Tax effort, which as you all know is defined as taxes as percent of GDP, is around 12.5% to 13%. It peaked in 1997 before the Asian financial crisis. Pataas na sana yung tax collection effort eh. But the person who